taking a look at classified Snake Eyes, the Man in Black. Not necessarily the Johnny Cash of G.I. Joe, but you definitely got to kick the line off. I would think you got to either kick it off with Grunt, if you want to go chronologically, Duke, if you want to go the face of G.I. Joe, or Snake Eyes is the other face of G.I. Joe. And I just took a look over at Big Bad Toy Store. Snake Eyes and a whole bunch of other classified figures, first wave, second wave, are up for pre-order on there, and for pretty good prices too. And the packaging doesn't harken back to the original exploding background, Hector Garrido style G.I. Joe. This is something new, but it's a resealable box, which is awesome. This is definitely what collectors like, to be able to take the thing out, display it for a while. When you get a little tired of it, pop it back in, put it on your shelf, and different way to display it. On the side here, we've got a couple of different symbols, which I don't know what any of these mean yet. We've got a skull on the top, a sword underneath that, what is that, a do not look? Kind of looks like the show password button with a line through it. I'm not sure what that is. And then I'm guessing this might be the Ninja faction. And a number 2 on the side. There was a different version of Snake Eyes available through Hasbro Pulse, an exclusive version which has a slightly different color scheme and an extra sword rack, and might be doing a comparison down the road one day. But look at this, kapow. Wow. Hashtag toy artistry. Absolutely beautiful. Much like the artwork that we're seeing on the new Masters of the Universe Origin toys, this might not be by the same person who did the original artwork, but whoever did this artwork was definitely looking at the original artwork and was inspired by it. Might even speculate that they idolized that artwork and definitely had a huge influence. And lots of stuff going on here. Just takes me right back to the 80s of, like, back of the Transformers box art, when I would take a close look and go, what is going on here? And maybe hints of things to come. There's a raven, a night raven with a drone, because the Rise of Cobra one didn't have a removable drone. There's a Fang, Hiss Tanks, Firebat, Sky Strikers. Are we going to see classified Sky Strikers, Conquest? I hope we get to see all this stuff. It's like a recolor of a Firebat, I believe. Skyhawk. You got all the tanks. Mauler. Piece of cake for the bridge layer. Dragonfly. Shark. It's just, as an old school G.I. Joe fan, even though some of the designs are different, and that is definitely not Ma Deuce. I feel you, Joe fans. There's still a lot right here. There's still a lot of nods here. So, you know, if you're lucky enough to not have an all or nothing type of personality, then you can certainly appreciate all of the great stuff going on the back here. Nice matte finish to the artwork here. Glossy on the side. I like the different finishes. This is plastic, which is part of the window on the front. Glossy artwork on the front. Look at this artwork too. I know the artwork is differing from box to box, but shrouded in darkness. It's raining, lit up with red. Beautiful. Really, really amazing presentation. I think Hasbro and Mattel have both really upped their game when it comes to the artistry on the box. And who's this fuzzy bugger right here? It is Timber. And hopefully we'll be seeing an official release of Timber. If not, there are Marvel Legends sized Timbers out there. And everything is displayed in the box here. So we're going to crack the box open. Pull the figure out. I always like to do this whenever I open a new figure, to see if anything else drops out. Sometimes you got stickers or instructions. This is just legal mumbo jumbo. How come there was never a G.I. Joe lawyer? You'd think that might be a thing these days. And even though those little wraps that are in here are good for securing the figure into the packaging, I really love it when I can just pull the figure right out and not have to snip, snip, snip. Because sometimes when I try to get an X-Acto knife in there, can't quite get a pair of scissors, I nick the figure, and that sucks. You've got a backpack, This is, you know, you're seeing my real-time reactions to futzing around with my very, very first 6-inch G.I. Joe. And I gotta tell you, you know, for anyone who grew up on classic G.I. Joe, the O-rings, hopefully you can hear me over all of this screeching plastic. Even though this isn't like an absolutely true, faithful update of 85 Snake Eyes, just handling him, playing him around with him, it is a little bit of a time warp. You know, I've said it often here. The reason some of our original favorites get enlarged is because we've enlarged. So this is how big Snake Eyes was in my hand back in 85. So it's definitely the right feeling size for a G.I. Joe figure. In terms of, I guess we'll go into some detail before I take a look at some of the articulation here, because the articulation is a huge, huge part of these guys. He is just so, I love the black. I mean, it's not coloration, but it's the perfect shininess, sheen. It's a semi-gloss. I like that it's not like really shiny black. That doesn't work. Even though the 85 figure is kind of shiny black, and I'll have a comparison, I like some of the kind of matte or semi-gloss black on him. And then he does have some shiny, but the shiny parts are like armor bits. Visor. So nice coloration on him. And he's wearing fatigues, like cargo pants, instead of the old sneaking ninja pants, along with combat boots instead of the old ninja boots like the original figure had. So this feels kind of like a blending of the original 85 Snake Eyes and Ray Park Snake Eyes from the live action movies. Kind of armored up here. This doesn't look like just a balaclava over his head. It's an armored helmet, whereas the original one just looked like he had a balaclava, like a mask pulled up over his head. Let's see, he's got the also important bandolier of grenades going across his chest. Gotta have that. Looks like it's removable, and this can be, yeah, that's easy. That can be such a pain sometimes getting it off. I had trouble getting Prince Adam's vest off in that Origins Adam review, but that's even easier actually than the 25th anniversary figures, because to take off a similar bandolier on the 25th anniversary figures, you have to pop the head off, and this comes off no problem whatsoever. I'm curious, what is this? Doesn't look like that comes off. I don't believe it does. No, it is a separate piece. So yeah, look at that. Alrighty, that's what we're talking about. Look at the details. Little pouch on his arm. It's been sculpted on his arm ever since 1985. Many Joe fans know all these little details, and now they're removable. So especially if you're playing around with them, having adventures with this Snake Eyes, I don't know, sometimes a Joe has to throw some ammo into something to blow it up, so you can have him just toss it and pop it back on his hand. Very easy, nice and stretchy, good grip on it. I like that. What else? So he's got another removable. It's tough to focus because he's so shrouded in mystery. Just like in Retaliation, he just wants to disappear back in a blur. It's hard to not get into his articulation because it's so much more than an original G.I. Joe figure, but we'll get to that in a second. He's got this double belt, which looks really cool. It's got an Arashikage symbol on the buckle, and double kind of hanging off to the side here on the second belt, much like the 85 figure. Another like just big detail that I remember very vividly about the original figure. Cool that that's brought back. Hey, check this out. Bandolier on the back has a hole, so you can take his backpack, which I don't immediately think 85 backpack when I see this. Duke's, when I saw a picture of it, I thought, oh cool, the shovel, Duke's backpack. This doesn't necessarily look like Snake Eyes' backpack. Maybe it's because it's missing the pegs on the side, but I'll do a comparison later on. But you can just poke the backpack through the bandolier and into the hole in the back, and now he's got a backpack. And I'm noticing also on his chest here, which was obscured by the bandolier, another Arashikage symbol with incredible, very, very detailed, tiny paint application there. The paint on this guy is fantastic. Really, really next level stuff. You know, we wanted next level detail and articulation. You're getting it with these classified figures. They're all about the detail. Now that I've finally got one in hand, as is the case sometimes, even if this, and especially with some of the other ones, I imagine with Duke and Roadblock, the ones with more changes, even if it's not what you vividly remember and it's not the experience it could have been, it's still a pretty cool, if you're a detail lover, it's a cool experience to look at these guys. I'm going to take this off for a second. I kind of like how the bandolier sits better without the backpack, but he has so much detail. I can't help but appreciate the detail in him. And just the form of him. It's a great looking figure. Can't wait to get to some poses, but before then, he's got a holster on the side. Looks like it's removable. Another looks like a knife sheath. So got a little knife here that slides into the sheath. Problem with the anniversary figures is these things wanting to fall out all the time. And let's see how the fit is here. Doesn't seem to want to go all the way in. I wonder if I'm doing something wrong here. Try the other way. That's not working. I don't know if it's just mine or if it's like that with all of them, but giving it a good little push and it's not going all the way in. So I don't know, maybe there's an extra bit of plastic in there or something going on, and I'm not sure. So that one is not fitting all the way. On the other side though, there's a holster for a gun, and you can just slide the gun in there. And I've seen this on some of the 25th anniversary figures. It has a little attachment, a nub on the end for a silencer. So because there's a hole in the bottom, you can just, if it's easier than fitting it all the way through with the silencer, you can just stick that on the end there. And very similar to one of the 25th or some of the 25th anniversary Snake Eyes figures. Able to do that. How's the gun? You know what's weird? Oh, as soon as you pull that out, the silencer falls off. The hole is weird. I don't know what the deal is there. The submachine gun has the same type of hole. So I don't know what the deal is there. Is it supposed to, maybe, is it the same? I don't know. It sort of fits on the backpack. That's interesting. Maybe it's just a design thing. So it looks like, oh, so you can take the, oh, cool. The sword sheath has the Arashikage symbol on the back too, and on the front. Really nice detailing on that as well. So it looks like you can take the sword sheath and plug it directly into his back. Look at this beauty. That is Snake Eyes' sword to me. The 85 sword. I know he's had some other katana blade style swords, but this has always been my favorite Snake Eyes sword. Might be tough to fit it into a sheath though. No, it's actually easy, very perfect. I thought because of this extra part right here, it might be a little tough, and the teeth, but it slides in and out perfectly fine. So you can have him with the sword on his back, as he does in quite a few different G.I. Joe reboots, or I think this is a cool feature too. You take the backpack. You know, actually, you don't even have to put the backpack in the hole on his back. If you want it to hang loose a little bit like that, hang low, you could do that too. And there's a hole on the side of the backpack, so you can get that same effect that the 85 figure had, a little more true to that figure. Sword on the side of the backpack. Feels a little close to the body. I feel like maybe I'm just going off of the 85 figure. If it could have been a little further back, maybe the hole in the side pouch, I don't know. But that's nice. And also, it can't go, I guess it can go that way if you want to store it that way. It's not, going in properly, but it does go in. I feel like that looks better, but that's the proper way of doing it right there. And I just noticed that pop the gun in here, if you don't want to have the silencer hanging off of there, since it's going to fall off when you pull it out, there's a loop on the top of the holster. You can just take the silencer and feed it through there. It's a little more compact and secure. A little better too, probably better for the posing to not have that silencer hanging off there. He's starting to look really cool, getting all geared up. This knife. Why don't you go all the way in? I don't know. Isn't that weird? Definitely should go all the way in, but maybe it got filled up with some extra plastic or something. That's certainly weird. And finally, the submachine gun. Not sure if there's a... Oh, look at that. There's a little post right here on the side. So, is that what the other hole is for? The hole isn't really exposed up here. I don't think you can really clip that in there like that. I guess there should have been another hole on the back or on the side here. You can take the sword sheath off, take the submachine gun, it nicely plugs into the side there. Oh, and then the submachine gun has a hole on it, so I wonder if you can plug that onto there. That's starting to look a little weird, having the sword sheath on the gun. So technically you can do it, but it doesn't really seem like the most practical thing to do. I am noticing with the backpack plugged in, the bandolier is riding a little high. Don't really like how that looks, so I'm going to try to pull this out, push the bandolier down a little bit, plug the backpack directly into the hole, and that looks way better. Just skipping the bandolier completely for backpack. Yeah, I like how that looks a lot better. Machine gun, we'll just have him hold it. I wonder how bendy these hands are. They are really stiff, actually. This is not really super bendy material like the 25th anniversary figures were. You have to, it's not going to break. It's not like you're going to get those dreaded stress marks, but it's really good and sturdy. There's no trigger in here to break or trigger loop to break. Holds it really well. And one thing the original figures had trouble with, and then certainly the anniversary figures, and there's no excuse for the anniversary figures having this problem, but anniversary figures had trouble, thanks to some of them had bad elbow joints, double handing the gun. So look at how stiff that is. That's great actually for weapon holding. Just to sturdy the gun, not that Snake Eyes needs to steady a gun. We learned in Renegades that he likes to do it gangsta style. Wow, this is some Metal Gear Solid type of stuff. Not only can he hold the gun, he can hold it in a really cool type of CQC. Reminds me of Solid Snake, another snake. That is so cool. Wow. Nice. And that's where I figured these figures were going to really shine in their posability. So some of the Marvel Legends that I've had in the past, you know, they could do a move technically. They could technically double hand a weapon, or, you know, do sort of a running pose, but the trick is to get the real, I don't know, the intensity of the move, like the real, almost like that Metal Gear Solid style of artwork that you see with all of the cross-hatching style. Something that has real, even though it's stationary, he's holding a stationary pose, you want something that is just exploding with energy and movement, and his backpack is exploding off of his back. It's not staying in very well. So I am having a little bit of an issue getting him to stand. Taking a look at the bottom, this to me looks like just a regular G.I. Joe O-ring style of peg hole. So it's probably the same as Marvel Legends. So I'm learning if you do skip the bandolier, it's going to make the backpack want to pop out even more. And that feels more secure if you do go through the bandolier. But here's a G.I. Joe O-ring stand. And is it? No, the O-ring stand is too big for a classified figure. You could make it fit, I'm guessing, but you're going to stretch that hole out. You don't want to do that. And I'm going to guess that an anniversary style base is going to be too small for it. And here's a 25th anniversary Snake Eyes. So we can try his stand. He doesn't stand very well either. And that's going to be way too small for that. So it's in between an O-ring and a 25th anniversary size stand. Looking at Marvel Legends, since Hasbro does those as well. And I'll do a quick run through of the articulation. So this will apply to all of the classified figures. I won't have to do this again for the other ones. But let's start with the head, which has a full 360. And it's an interesting joint. You see that in the neck? So he can go left and right, up and down, but it's not a ball joint like the 85 and beyond O-ring figures were. It's on an actual like joint there, cut joint, so it gives him much more range. He can look, he's got the really, I just love the dark coloration of him. He's fantastic. I'm thinking like, I haven't lit him well enough for you to see, but this is exactly how he's supposed to look. He's dark. He's a shadow even in the light. But looking straight down, he can look really high too. That'll be great for when he's maybe riding on a classified Ram or Silver Mirage. That's a big problem a lot of figures have when they're on motorcycles. Their head is still down. The O-ring certainly had that problem, but being able to hike that head up a little bit will be great for motorcycle poses. Arms, standard 360. He's got the swivel is in his bicep. Double jointed elbow, just like his knees, and that's good enough. Flexibility in the elbows. What do the hands do here? The wrists are 360, and do they have an extra? Looks like they do have an extra up and down. Hey, listen to that. Got a little bit of almost ratcheting, bone popping action, but that's good that it catches on there. So I don't know if he's going to really be hauling all that much heavy stuff, but just having that pop there will help for not having the hand droop. Oh, that one was popping out a little bit. I thought that looked a little odd, so I just popped it back in, and so that's a thing to watch for. I guess these can come out, and if they do, you can just pop them right back in. He's got an ab crunch that is brutal. So yeah, I don't love everything. I don't give everything an easy pass. Let me get rid of this backpack for now because it keeps popping out, and I'll take this gun out of his hand. The ab crunch is just, you know, maybe too loose on this figure. Wow, that's some yoga mastery right there. Look how far back he can easily do the diamond cutter for you DDP yoga fans. Look at him stretch back. That's incredible. And then a lot of ab crunch forward, but it's loose. So this should have been a much tighter joint. I guess something got lost along the way in production, but this is making him floppy. Thinking back to the Thrilling 30 Metroplex, the Titan Metroplex, could have been a cool figure, just way too floppy, ruins the figure. So this guy's really cool, but that's the one thing to watch out for. If there is a way to tighten that up, maybe putting some glue, something in there, nail polish, clear nail polish in there to tighten that up. That's making him not feel sturdy. But he does have, oh, he's got a waist twist underneath that. I see in a lot of figures they either have the waist twist or they have the ab crunch, and this guy has both. Kind of tight, and this feels like plastic is stretching. So I don't want to force that and do a 360, because often when I feel this resistance, it breaks. So something in there is too tight, stuck together. Maybe a hairdryer might help with that. Oh, this is cool. This is what I really like about these removable holsters. You can turn them to the front so that you can do the splits, and doesn't quite have the Scorponok negative splits or ultra splits, but he's got amazing movement in his hips, and he's got these double jointed knees. I love it when figures have this. Got that soccer field goal looking, oh man, you can get a decent stand for him. Even without a stand, he can stand for a couple of seconds, but that's fantastic. And then he's got the twist in the boot as well. He's got some, oh yeah, the foot moves quite a bit back, a little bit forward, and then he's got some of that ankle pivot too, to give him a little bit of stability. Very similar to that Mandalorian Star Wars 6-inch figure that I reviewed a while back, and some of the other 6-inch Star Wars figures. So if you've always wanted to be able to put your Snake Eyes figure in dynamic ninja poses, certainly more than most G.I. Joe characters, it's Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow who had the most dynamic poses in the comics. You can get him to do all sorts of different poses. There's always a major annoyance of mine whenever you got a character with a sword like Lion-O or He-Man, and he didn't have any posability worth a lick. He couldn't even double hand the sword. Snake Eyes' sword is very synonymous with the character, and now you can do these awesome, wow. Yeah, this is not a, you know, it's not an action figure, it's a miniature sculpture, a movable, posable miniature sculpture, and you don't even really need the stand. If you just twist the ankles in the right way, you should be able to get him in a pretty sturdy pose. And this guy was definitely not made for just standing there stoically with his arms at his sides like most original O-ring figures. This guy is all about the dynamic poses. Double-handed sword. He's got enough range that looks like you can even get this. Or how many figures can you do this with? Get the over the head type of swiping pose. That's what's really impressive with this figure, the range. And not just that, like I said, that he can do it, but oh, that's awesome. That tilt in the wrist allows him to point that sword forward. I'm just going to ditch this backpack again, but look at that. You can point with the sword, or you can have him in a, I'm guessing, a walking pose. A lot of these poses, I'm picturing them from like anime, like samurai type of thing. Sword pointed to the ground. And if you are patient enough, you don't really need that stand. I've got him with one foot flat and the other foot just tiptoe on the ground there. And he is standing nice and sturdy. I mean, I'm sure if I give this a wobble, no, he's not bad actually. He's not bad. So very well done. Very well done. Could definitely be tighter, the joints on it, but it's not like it's a complete floppy mess that's not going to be able to do anything. And let's see. Let's give Snake Eyes a gun in the other hand. That one just slides right on. And if you want to do G.I. Joe Retaliation GAT style, gangster style, you can do that too. There's enough tightness, strength in the arm and in the wrist to hold the gun very easily. But this ab crunch is what I'm talking about. He naturally wants to do this to slouch, and feels like it should naturally go like better posture. Posture is power, remember. So it is a little bit of an effort. It does catch. There is a catch there, but it isn't as tight as in the wrists. That definitely looks a lot better there. And then if you put the backpack on, he definitely feels back heavy, which makes that ab crunch want to fold forward even more. I found a spot that fits. The knife fits right in the sword sheath. There we go. So for now, we'll just leave it there. And a couple of comparisons before I wrap it up here. Here is A, Anniversary Snake Eyes. There were so many versions of them. This is one of my favorites. It's not really an animated version of him. The animated one is kind of purpley, but I always need some ninja reflexes with some of these figures. So proportions definitely better on Classified. These guys looked elongated. It looked like you took an O-ring and you Stretch Armstronged him. So, it's a look that a lot of us have gotten used to, but it did look definitely a different proportion than the O-ring figures. So that's an anniversary figure. And then the big comparison is with the original one, 1985 Snake Eyes. A couple of details haven't been carried over. They're missing. So the arrow on the wrist, not on the new one. That would have been a really easy little detail to add on there. Not sure why they didn't include that. Totally different pants, although the original one does have a gun on his leg holster, and the new one has a gun on his leg holster. And then when you flip to the other side, knife on the leg, knife on the leg. So a couple details faithfully brought over, recreated. You can see the double belt, especially on the side here, how it's hanging low, kind of like a Western type of look. Same thing happening on the new one. No Arashikage symbols on the 85 figure, since that didn't come until later, but there's the bandolier with the 3 grenades. Faithfully recreated there. Similar visor, although gray on the original, black, glossy black on the new one. And then the pouches. Same thing, got little, I don't know if they're ammo or explosive pouches, but they have been recreated for the new figure. And backpack comparison. I don't think this one is really all that inspired by the new one. This one's distinctive. Definitely, you know, I don't think just because this has 2 pouches here, it's harkening back to the 2 pouches on this one. Yeah, I don't really feel like this is the new version of that. I think this is just a totally original thing. So not exactly a faithful recreation of 85 Snake Eyes, but definitely takes enough from 85 Snake Eyes that he does seem familiar. He doesn't feel like a total reimagining, what are they doing type of thing. But the big thing is just to be able to pose your Snake Eyes in cool action poses, because he's one of the coolest action characters ever put to screen, live action or animated. So that's the first G.I. Joe classified review on this channel. It's good that G.I. Joe is back. It's great that G.I. Joe is in a new scale with so much detail and posability, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the classic designs in this new scale and style. Thank you to the Patreon tribe for supporting the channel and providing Patreon power. I want to give a warm welcome to our newest member, General Josh McCall. Welcome to the tribe, good brother. If you've got a classified thought, keep it to yourself, because it's classified, right? No, just kidding. Feel free to share it in the comments below, but try to keep it upbeat. If you've got nothing but disappointment and hate for this line, then you've come to the wrong place. There's lots of different places on the internet where you can share those types of grievances. Here we try to give 2 compliments for every criticism, and I think there's a lot of good stuff going on with this figure. Feel free to share the video, and to join the tribe, hit subscribe. Yo, Joe!